Becky, maybe you should turn off his
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Council's ordinary meeting of the 23rd of August 2022. As you know, the Mayor normally presides over as chairperson of council meetings, but due to the resignation of the former Mayor, Councillor Connolly, which took effect on the 22nd of August 2022, there is no Mayor to act as chairperson. Councillor's Code of Meeting Practice provides that in the absence of the Mayor, the Deputy Mayor presides as chairperson, so I will act in that role until the election of Mayor. Firstly, I would like to start by acknowledging the Indigenous heritage. Hawkesbury City Council acknowledges the Darug and Darking young people as the traditional custodians of the land of the Hawkesbury. We pay respect to all elders, past, present and emerging, and acknowledge all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples as the first peoples of this country. I will now hand over to the General Manager for some procedural matters.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Members of the public attending the meeting this evening are advised that in the event of an emergency, you'll be asked to proceed in an orderly manner to the nearest exit, following the guidance of our warden. I would also like to advise that in accordance with clause 5.33 of the Code of Meeting Practice, meetings of the Council are recorded. In the terms of the Privacy and Personal Information Protection Act, this may involve the recording of personal information provided at the time of the meeting. The recordings are made to assist staff in compiling the minutes of the meeting and to enable the podcasting of council meetings. The provision of any information that is recorded is voluntary. If any person does not wish to be recorded, they should not address or request to address the meeting. The recordings may be made available to other persons where such access is in accordance with the relevant regulations. The recordings are stored on Council's record management system. Meetings of the Council may be separately recorded with the prior authority of the Council. For the benefit of any persons who'll be addressing the Council tonight, it is expected that you'll refrain from making any insult, allegation or personal reflection against any person present or not at this meeting. This request relates to both your address to Council and to any answers given in response to questions from councillors. Finally, it is also requested that any person attending or participating in the meeting has a mobile phone that they turn it off or switch it to silent, please. Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, General Manager. Do we have any apologies, please? Councillor Sambrogno. Move that way. Moved by Councillor Sheether, seconded by Councillor Weigel. All those in favour that we accept the apologies, please raise your hand. Carried unanimously. Declarations of interest. Are there any declarations of interest? No. The minutes of the previous meeting. The minutes are of the meeting of the 9th of August 2022. Would someone like to move we accept the minutes? Move Councillor Lyons Bucket, seconded Councillor Reardon. Any discussion on that? No, then I'll put that. All those in favour, please raise your hand. Carried unanimously. Thank you. I think the next item is 148, and that is the election of the Mayor. And there's a recommendation in here on page 11, I think it is. The recommendation is that an election for the position of Mayor of Hawkesbury City Council for the balance of the mayoral term from August 2022 to January, and it should say 2024, I believe, it says 2022, be carried out. Would someone like to move that as amended? Councillor Weigel, seconded Councillor Sheether. Any discussion? If not, I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please raise your hand. Carried unanimously. Therefore, we will now move to the election of the Mayor, and I will hand over to the General Manager to conduct that election.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Councillors, you've each been provided with nomination forms. At this point, I've received 2 nominations for the role of Mayor from Councillor McMahon and Councillor Lyons Bucket. Are there any further nominations?
Yes, thank you.
Councillor Kotlash?
Yes, thank you. I'd like to nominate myself. Do I have to meet him halfway? Thanks, Charles.
Any further nominations, councillors? No. That being the case, I can confirm I have received the following nominations for the office of Mayor: Councillor McMahon, Councillor Lyons Bucket and Councillor Kotlash. I have also received confirmation from all of those councillors that they have accepted those nominations. Councillors, as we have more than one candidate, council must now determine by resolution the method of voting for the role of Mayor. The options are: 1, open voting by way of a show of hands; 2, ordinary ballot, being a secret ballot; or 3, a preferential ballot, a secret ballot. Somebody wish to move a method? Councillor Reardon. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Dogramachi. Seconded, Councillor Dogramachi. Any discussion on that, councillors? No? That being the case, I'll put that motion that the method of voting be by open voting and the show of hands. In favour of the motion, councillors Wheeler, Lyons Bucket, Jurek, Dogramachi, Connolly, Calvert, Kotlash, Shetha, Weigel, McMahon and Reardon, and will therefore declare that carried. It has been resolved that the method of voting for the position of Mayor will now be by way of a show of hands. Each councillor is entitled to vote for only one candidate in each round of voting. I will now write each candidate's name on a slip of paper and deposit it in a box. The first name out of the barrel will be the first written on the tally sheet, with the second name out being written second on the tally sheet, and so forth. And bear with us while we just write those names down into the box. Councillor McMahon. Lyons Bucket. I will now draw names out of the hat and record them on the tally sheet in order of selection. Position 1, Councillor Lyons Bucket. Position 2, Councillor Kotlash. Then the third position will then be Councillor McMahon. Okay. You ready, Charles? Yeah. Go time. With those councillors voting for position 1 on the tally sheet, Councillor Lyons Bucket, please raise your hands. Councillors Wheeler, Lyons Bucket, Jurek. With those councillors voting for position 2 on the tally sheet, Councillor Kotlash, please raise your hands. Councillors Calvert, Councillors Kotlash. With those councillors voting for position 3 on the tally sheet, Councillor McMahon, please raise your hands. Councillors Dogramachi, Connolly, Shetha, Weigel, McMahon and Reardon. So that's 6 votes for Councillor McMahon. 2 votes, Councillor Kotlash. 3 votes, Councillor Lyons Bucket. Therefore, Councillor Kotlash, having the lowest number of votes, is excluded. The voting now continues as there are now only 2 candidates remaining. So with those councillors voting for position or for councillor position 1, Councillor Lyons Bucket, please raise your hand. Councillors Wheeler, Lyons Bucket, Jurek. With those councillors voting for position 3 on the tally sheet, Councillor McMahon, please raise your hand. Councillors Dogramachi, Connolly, Calvert, Sheether, Weigel, McMahon and Reardon. Councillor Kotlash, can I clarify if you voted? No. So. So that's 3 votes for Councillor Lyons Bucket and 7 votes for Councillor McMahon. Councillor McMahon has the highest number of votes, and as a result, I declare that Councillor McMahon is elected Mayor for the balance of the mayoral term from August 2022 until January 2024. I will now ask that the Mayor of Hawkesbury City Council, Councillor McMahon, to chair the balance of the meeting.
Madam Returning Officer, if the gallery can't keep quiet, they either go or I'm going.
I'll leave it to the newly elected Mayor to call the gallery to order.
Microphone on to sit in this chair and call the gallery to order. Thank you very much. Before we Thank you. Let's move on with the balance of our evening, everybody. Before we move on to the following items in the business paper, I just would like to say a few small words before we do that. Now, what an honour and a privilege to be elected to the role of Mayor of Hawkesbury City. I would like to thank my colleagues for their trust and faith in me to do the job of looking after our beautiful LGA, a place that I love and I know you all love with all of our heart. Having grown up in the Hawkesbury since I was a kid and going to school at St Matthew's just across the road from here, it is a very moving moment to now be elected as the Mayor of this community, in this very building, in the very same precinct as my primary school. Before I say anything else, I would just like to pay tribute to our outgoing Mayor, Councillor Patrick Connolly, whose resignation was unexpected yet understandable. Patrick has served as a councillor since 2012 and as our mayor from September 2020 until just recently. I know my colleagues will echo these sentiments when I say that Patrick was and still is an exceptional leader, a staunch advocate and a respected friend. Above all else, Patrick is a loving husband to Jess and a devoted father of 4, and I commend him on his decision to place the interests of his family first and foremost. It is probably pertinent at this point to remind everyone that we all do have families, and that our families must remain out of bounds from community persecution when it comes to doing this very job. We are elected, not them. Excuse me. But Pat, I know it was a difficult decision to step down, but you have done the right thing in balancing your priorities. Staying on as a councillor, I know you still have plenty to contribute to the Hawkesbury, and I look forward to continuing to work closely with you in the coming years. You are someone I consider a good mate, and I thank you for your friendship, loyalty, and integrity over the years. If we can all just honour Pat and his contribution to the Hawkesbury, please. Okay, moving on from that. I believe that tonight has presented itself as an opportunity to begin a new chapter. As councillors, we all know that we must work as one and do our best for the Hawkesbury that we all live in and that we all love. Coming from different backgrounds and experiences, it is no secret that we have a wide span of views on how this can be done. Since being elected here myself in 2016, there have been some amazing moments of community wins and some moments where the difference of opinion has been exceptionally obvious. I think many of us enter public life because we want to see outcomes. I know outcomes is the word that I always use when anyone asks me why I do this job. Well, to me, not a job, but a vocation. But there can be doubts that there can be no doubts that community representation, or politics for want of a better word, has its pits and has its peaks. It has its highs and it has its lows, depending on the community mood and depending on what you stand for. It can be brutal, painful, and very hurtful at times. Anyone who knows me knows that I have certainly experienced both over the years, the heartbreak and the exhilaration, as has everyone in this chamber, as have both our local, state and federal members. All their paths to the current status quo have been filled with losses and derailments, but every now and then comes the silver lining, the chance to do something that makes other people's lives better. What never changes, though, is the ability to get up again after a bad day with the hope and optimism that today will be a good day. And as someone very wise recently said to me, and actually quoted it to me again this evening, yesterday is gone, but today is here, and it now means that you can work for a better tomorrow, Mr. Sheether. However, tonight, we must view the future with a mindset to reset. We have all grown and learned so much since our time in this chamber, not always getting it right. We are human beings after all, but knowing that we have chosen to be here because we are committed and passionate about the Hawkesbury. This is why, moving forward, we must work together with kindness, cooperation and compassion whilst balancing our own personal convictions. We must show the community that the only interests we have at heart are theirs, and that we will be diligent and motivated in our determination to do our very best. It is, after all, our civic duty to show up and stand up where it matters. One of the first tasks I will do as mayor is invite each councillor to a one-on-one meeting to discuss their goals and desires for the Hawkesbury. I will then set a date very soon for the 12 of us to meet to ascertain projects and wish lists that we can work on as a group, with the intent to see real, positive and tangible change in the Hawkesbury. And I want that meeting of 12 to become a regular monthly agenda item. When it comes to briefings and workshops, I want all 12 councillors to take turns chairing these sessions, showcasing that we are all leaders and that we can probably all learn something from each other if we stop, pause, listen, and work with the fundamental foundation of respect for each other. There is no doubt that our community is in precarious times. Bushfires, COVID, and repeated floods have worn us all down, and we are exhausted. We also have the threat of another flood. Yes, it is real. As 12 leaders, we must be doing all we can to be loud and strong advocates for our community to the higher levels of government who have the financial capacity to deliver the social, economic and infrastructure benefits that the Hawkesbury needs and deserves. Leading into this, as your new mayor, I will be seeking briefings and updates from the relevant authorities so that we are as prepared as we can be. Personally, I have a range of initiatives that I would like to see occur in the Hawkesbury, mostly around tourism, employment opportunity and infrastructure upgrades. We must protect our rural amenity, but that also does not mean that nothing ever changes. We must be an ideas LGA, an innovative LGA, a connected LGA, an inclusive LGA, and one that wants to balance all of our key objectives as per our community strategic plan. We need vision, long-term goals and projects that also create income to reinvest into better services. We must continue to support our local small businesses, as I have openly done through Shop Small, and ensure that they are valued and listened to when in need. I will be seeking an update on the status of our road repairs. So everyone listening's got my commitment to that, and communicate in due course about our schedule to get this done. I know this is something that is pressing to many and I will do my best to see it through. As mayor, I also intend to shine a brighter light on something that I am deeply passionate about, which is using my voice to make the online world a safer place. It is no secret that myself and others have sustained horrific and false online bullying from others. It should not be a given consequence of putting your hand up simply to serve your community to have that happen to you. As a mum of 3 young children, I do not want my kids, or in fact any kids, growing up in an online world where people can say or write whatever they want without consequences. We must call it and the perpetrators out. In an age where we are focused on the mental health of everyone, this is the last thing that people should be engaging in. It is usually from our learned experiences that passions evolve, and this is now one of mine. I have a plan and I will be working on it immediately. Lastly, I want to reiterate my commitment to the Hawkesbury. As a local who has lived here almost my whole life, had my kids across the road at that very hospital just there, lived on the RAF base and has spent most of my adult life advocating for this community, whether as an elected representative, in Rotary, on the hospital board or in the CWA, I am pleased to be able to do so now with a louder voice. I am proud of what has been delivered so far and cannot wait to see what the future holds. I intend to be a full-time mayor in the chambers daily to attend to the needs of this community. I want everyone to know that my door will be open for you to meet with me. That will reply to your correspondence and usually reply to your texts at all hours of the night, just because I rarely have my phone out of my hand. I'm usually out and about at the shops or at Saturday sports, kids in tow, doing all the usual local things. So please feel free to come up to me and say hi whenever you see me. I will do my best to keep you informed via social media channels, and mostly, I vow to do my very best for you in the most professional and collaborative way possible. Lastly, I would like to thank Matt, my kids, my family, and my very dear friends for their continued support throughout the years. It isn't easy for them seeing some of the aspects that can come with this territory. I would like to thank the community for their vote in me at the December 2021 council elections, and again, my colleagues here tonight. I look forward to working more directly with you all, and of course, in conjunction with our Deputy Mayor, Councillor Calvert, our General Manager, and our staff. Thank you very much. Okay, on to the next official item of business. That is item number 149, appointment of councillor representatives, Forum on Western Sydney Airport and Peppercorn Services. Now, as you can see, do we have a mover for that? Sorry, first of all. Councillor Sheether, seconder, Councillor Kotlash. Thank you very much. As you can see from the report, Councillor Dogramachi has decided to withdraw from the Forum on Western Sydney Airport, and I am unable to be on the board of Peppercorn Services. I therefore call on a councillor to nominate if they are interested in taking over the position on the Forum on Western Sydney Airport. Anybody? No.
Are you in a position to be able to do that?
I'll just ask the general manager, what's the meeting schedule? Sorry.
Through the chair, my understanding is it meets quarterly. It's a forum that meets, I think, I'm not sure which day of the week it typically meets, but it is a daytime commitment as I understand it.
Okay, thank you very much. I guess if nobody else is interested, I'm happy to take on the role.
It's somewhere near the airport.
I like that.
No, they do have a visitor centre out there, so it could be at that location. But perhaps Councillor Dogamachi, I'm not sure if he attended, but I know.
Parramatta, thank you. Are you considering that, Councillor Weigel?
Depends on how many people they can gather.
Excellent. So we have one nomination, Councillor Weigel. Can I have a seconder for that, please? Thank you, Councillor Dogramachi. Any discussion on that? No? Do we vote separately, General Manager?
We've drafted you. There's a motion here once we get to the peppercorn. If we now.
Okay, so I'll call on, therefore, once we've got that one sorted, I will call on any other councillor who is interested in being on the Peppercorn Services Board, please.
Can I ask how often they meet?
I'm pretty
And
sure it's
when?
monthly and it's about 3 o'clock on, I think it's a Wednesday.
I think it was always a council Tuesday when
Oh, maybe it
Councillor
was-
Garrow did
You're
it.
right. You're right, Councillor Wheeler. It's a Tuesday at 3 o'clock. Yeah.
Oh, all right. Such enthusiasm.
Okay, Councillor Wheeler, can I have a seconder for that, please? Councillor Dogramachi. Any discussion? All those in, so we do have a motion now on the board, therefore fulfilling both of those vacancies. If there's no further discussion, I'll ask is everybody in favour? Raise your hands. Thank you. In favour is Councillor Reardon, Councillor Connolly, Councillor Weigel, Councillor Sheether, Councillor Kotlash, Councillor Calvert, Councillor Dogramachi, Councillor Jurek, Councillor Lyons Bucket, Councillor Wheeler and Councillor Zamprogno. Thank you. We'll now move on to the last item on tonight's agenda, which is item number 150. Can I have a mover for that, please? Thank you, Councillor Lyons Bucket. Seconder, thank you, Councillor Kotlash. Any discussion? Sorry, Councillor Lyons Bucket.
Madam Mayor, I'll nominate to go as Councillor Dogramachi has pulled out, based on the fact that we have another 4 motions going in, making 5 motions for the conference, assuming those motions are coming back to council, are they? They're coming back at the next one. So assuming they're going through, I will attend.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder for Councillor Lyons Bucket? Councillor Wheeler. Just before we move on, was there anyone else interested, or have we closed that off at only one more? Because I do remember the original item was up to 5. It was up to 5.
I
Yeah.
think we passed for 2
Oh,
to go,
because of the
but
expenses.
5 can go.
But 5
because
can
we
go.
have 5 voting spots.
I do remember raising costs as a concern, but yes, we can take 5 if there was more interested parties. Was anyone else interested in attending as well? Councillor Reardon? Do I need a seconder for Councillor Reardon? Or do it all together? Excellent. Anyone else interested? Councillor Sheether? Yes. Anyone else from the floor? No? Okay, so we putting that into the motion. Okay, so approving councillors Lyons Bucket, Reardon, Sheether to replace Councillor Dogramachi. Is there any further discussion? No further discussion? Then I'll put, oh, sorry, Councillor Sheether.
Is reading there? I can't read that properly.
She is, she's just not picking up as a spelling error, whereas everyone else's name is. That's why. Okay, without any further discussion, I'll put the item up for the vote. Those in favour, please raise your hand. In favour is Councillor Reardon, Councillor Connolly, Councillor Weigel, Councillor Sheether, Councillor Kotlash, Councillor Calvert, Councillor Dogramachi, Councillor Jurek, Councillor Lyons Bucket, Councillor Wheeler and Councillor Zamprogno. Thank you. And that being the last item on the agenda, our meeting to,
Madam Mayor,
oh yes, Councillor Sheether.
just a question. There was a resolution that only two go. That is outside that resolution. There's 5 delegates, but the council had resolved that only 2 go. I might ask the general manager how we might rectify that.
We can read.
Through you, Madam Mayor. This is simply a later resolution, councillor, so there's not a concern that it would be in contravention of an earlier resolution of council.
We don't have to deal with any tonight.
No.
Thank you, Councillor Sheether. With all the business taken part tonight, I therefore conclude the meeting at 7:02 and I thank you again for your support. Thank you. Thank you.